Hi, Capricorn. I think I want you to listen to this. Don't the Buddhists do that? Like, hear the bells remind them, right? To come back in the center and appreciate. Maybe this is why there always used to be a church in town, right? With the church bells, etc. I think all places, bells are pretty sacred sounds, right? Vibrations. Okay, so welcome to this space. If you're new here, welcome to the space. Welcome to now, whenever you arrive. I am recording this for June, but whenever you arrive. Okay, so before we get into cards, I want to share a few little things. Number one, Capricorn, you've been working so hard, right? Wherever Capricorn is for you, if you were here, there's something deeply definitive in your capacity to understand what is necessary, how to handle situations, and I heard when I was shuffling your cards, there's something about, like, you know, Capricorn energy is probably the most stable of all the energy. Right? It has a long-term kind of stability, and that's really important. And so I heard it's now your time to shine. Not by receiving accolades for your efforts, like, oh, look what I did, reward me. I don't feel like most of you will even, well, I heard something, again, it's not about, like, it's not about, how do I want to explain this? The important part is about your capacity to be strong and to know what needs to be done and to handle it. Of course, in this time frame, whenever you find this is relevant. I also feel like this is a lot further reaching in ways of the future and the stability of that. That is important, right? That's the beauty of Capricorn to me, is that it has such great stamina, such great determination and dedication. There is a lack of, when Capricorn is used correctly too, right? Your energy, then there is no fear. I mean, there's an awareness to what is appropriate or not, what is risky or not. Right? You don't go climb a mountain in winter, right? The middle of winter, that's just not smart. You're asking for it, right? In a negative way. So I see, please take up the initiative to do what you need to do to make sure that things are in the right place for yourself, which then helps where you live and your family and your job and all the other parts coming around the mountain, right? So, whoa, did you see that? Coming around the mountain, when she comes. Hi! Okay. Holy moly, the birds are really putting on quite a show. Alright, so, your reality and your strength are the two that showed themselves, okay? So this means that there is, the reality of the situation is that you know exactly what you need to do. There are definitely, your strength right now is your capacity to work, your capacity to focus, your capacity to, it's not about the money, it's not about the title, it's not about, again, I heard compliments or anything. Did you see that weird flicker? That's also a bird. But what it's about is doing what you need to do. And I guess a part of how to ensure that that strength is, and that energy is used correctly, I heard to ensure longevity is to make sure that you are being clear in where you're at. Because whatever your decisions are, I guess they are your own. I guess there could be a few things that you need to say no to. But if you're doing it because that's what you need to be doing, then there's really, I heard no qualms about it. If there's anybody trying to prove a point, like an ego kind of thing, well then that's a different story. Alrighty then, let's see what you want, Capricorn. Ooh, the Lovers. What do you need? 10 of Cups. How do you feel? 9 of Pentacles. Remember, your strength is the 8 of Pentacles. I guess I just want to tell you your cards. What's your weakness? 3 of Cups. What's in the heart of the matter? 3 of Pentacles. Light side, shadow side. Just a second, please. Really beautiful cards. I heard little twists and turns, like little, I just saw someone like, I heard finicking and then finagling, little things. Make sure they're in the right places. I feel like there is a blessing coming to you. Maybe that sounds, I don't know, hokey or whatever. This word is used a lot, right? But I guess there is always kind of a blessing in everything, if we want to see it that way. But you're more practical anyway, so we don't need to worry about the hokiness of it. And then I heard that song, that hokey pokey, turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Oh, maybe that's part of your weakness is, well, let's see. Okay, so you're a doer, right? You do. Capricorn, I build. I use my energy to build my life, right? I use my time correctly to build what you desire. Just a second. Okay. So you want this time to be easier and not have the same questions that you did last year, this time. I guess some of you could be tired of being in charge of something or feeling responsible for something. So I guess you want to ask yourself, is that your responsibility? I want to read you out of this book. Just a second. Capricorn. Just a second. This book's kind of dense. Just a second. Where is it? Okay. So the path of initiation can only be reached once the path of evolution and probation has happened, right? And then from there, we move into the path of the disciple. After that, this is when the path of initiation is now brought forth to achieve these stages. I guess these are 3 things you need to know. This covers familiar ground for all of you, but in the effort to achieve a vision of the whole, constant repetition has its place. We are now concerned with the 3rd stage of the evolutionary process, carried forward upon the path of initiation, and entered into, as far as humanity is concerned, at the 3rd initiation, and consummated at the 7th initiation, an initiation far more easily reached by people upon the first ray than on any of the others. This, as far as you can at this time grasp, concerns primarily the creative will as it is. And these is are this: initiates a manifestation and conditions that which is created, brings about eventual fulfillment, and overcomes death or differentiation. All initiates must and eventually do express dynamic creative will and a focused purpose, which expresses only the will to good, and also that sustained effort which brings fulfillment. I would remind you here that sustained effort is the seed of synthesis, the cause of achievement, and that which finally overcomes death. Death is really deterioration in time and space, and is due to the tendency of matter spirit to isolate itself. Well, that's pretty deep. Okay. Sorry. Not sorry. Something in there was important for you. Okay, let's get back into this. Well, your colors are very bright. There's lots of yellow. More yellow than anything. We're talking about the solar plex. This is your willpower. This is, to me, also where the inner child lives. This is a kind of creative space, right? Like, I will turn this mud pie into a stone. You know, I will, I will this into being. Now, of course, there are certain things we cannot force. And there are certain situations that cannot be avoided. Just a minute. So I guess what you kind of need right now, some of you may be feeling like you need your family, or you need some sort of support in this time. Because maybe for some of you, how you feel is that you do feel a bit alone. I suppose those of you who have been working a lot, like, you know, this is occupationally, more of a physical nature than anything. I mean, the work obviously is spiritual too. We're talking about spirit and matter, right? But these two things need to be working in unison, right? So I guess if you have been working a lot, physically speaking, and actually see that doing very well, make sure that you have a good balance of what you need to do to handle and ensure that your physical world is golden. Make sure that you are being honest in taking the space and time that you need so that you can step back into it. And I heard, how does it feel when there's some space? Just a second. If you've ever been cheated on, this is more past tense. I guess, yeah, I see it more as past tense. If you've ever been cheated on or involved in something that was not well thought out, that could be a bit of your fear in your relationships and certain decisions now. If this is not your fear, this is someone that you're dealing with. So just be aware of that. I guess that everyone has their history, their own stories, right? And hi, K-Cat. Interesting energy. I almost feel as if, like, well, how do I explain this? Let me try to tune in a second. Again, you have to remember that your effort matters so deeply. And it's very important that you feel confident in yourself. Okay? If you do not, for some reason, then well, I guess remember that you're working out some sort of lesson and there needs to be effort put into some place. Do you enjoy what you do? This is a question. Do you enjoy what you do? If so, then I heard success is yours. Do you feel like you could do it alone? Whatever alone is to you, whatever you're trying to, whatever you're working towards, right? Like, whatever you're wanting, can you do it alone? Can you handle that? Do you feel good about that? Do you feel confident in yourself? Just a second. Well, I guess you're also wanting to make the right decision. Yes. You're wanting to make the right decision, but I guess you know that there's some hang up here. You need to have a conversation with Pisces, but sometimes that's hard, right? You're connected to them, but Saturn doesn't like really being in Pisces. So I guess what I heard also building, just a second. Well, I heard, what do you want? If you do drink, that weakness is really big. It could also be a distraction. If you are looking for work, you definitely can find it. Eight of Pentacles to me, and in this moment too, is showing me a kind of like, where it's sort of like, I heard a regular pace. So if this is your job now, it's like whatever the pace is going to, like, through this time frame, is going to stay the same. Although eights do kind of give a little bit of extra energy, and there's sort of, to me, a lot to be done. But there's repetition in it. So, well, there's Pisces again. What's that about? Emperor, Aries. Well, they're neighbors, right? So, who... Just a minute. Just a second. What makes you feel strong? And I saw this in the beginning of your reading too, but I do feel like there's something about your moon, or you should watch your moon. Because your moon is going to show you what helps you feel comfortable, right? For instance, say you had a moon in Capricorn. What is going to bring part of that emotional security? And I guess all of you have feelings, and we're talking about Capricorn here, so we can push it over there, is like, Moon in Capricorn is going to feel confident and stable when they are achieving things, when they are physically doing things. Now, of course, that has a lot of stamina. So you want to make sure that you're also enjoying yourself. That's also a part of Capricorn, is being able to actually, I heard, let your hair down and actually have a good time. Now, of course, everyone has Capricorn. The way it's set up in their map is going to be a little bit different. Some people are gung-ho, super workers. Some people don't want to work and they want everything given to them. Now, I'm not saying this is you exactly. I'm just saying, remember, I heard again, everyone has a different story. But we're all working together, so that's really important. Now, how can you, do you view your job as creative? Like, do you see it that way? What you're trying to work on right now? What you're putting some light and energy and time into? Do you feel good about it? Does it feel solid to you? Is it something that brings you peace? Let me see what you have to say, because the reality is the Five of Swords, which is kind of... What's this about? Queen of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. So maybe some of you need to tell your mother something. Maybe some of you need to stand up to yourself. Maybe you're thinking about how you can attain your goals in a different kind of way. Or maybe just rearranging some feelings so that you can understand more about what the patterns are to things. Because well, how long has it been? From Capricorn till now is 6 months, right? So how was, for instance, since the beginning of the Gregorian year, how has it been? What have you accomplished? How much money have you made that you worked for? You know, what have you attained? Are you taking up that role of, because again, like in the beginning, we talked about your own power. And the world needing that right now, that stability, that confidence, that will to do, right? That will to create, to build, to use your time and money and energy in the right ways, right? Because this helps the choices. But I guess it all depends on what you believe. And, you know, because you can fold in, for instance, family, your job, your independence, your creativity, your friends, all of this. You can fold it all in and make a really beautiful meal, you know, but this is something really strong to do with Pisces. Right, because Capricorn to me is also kind of God, in a way. Because Saturn rules the earth. Just a minute. I heard again, how confident do you feel right now? You should feel confident. If you don't, maybe you need to tell yourself, I'm ready for something. Ready for the next stage. Because your strength right now is to keep going. And I guess let's kind of wrap this up for this time frame. Let's sum it up. This is definitely, although there are emotions in this situation that are big, but I need you to remember that you always have what you need. And if there's any point that you don't feel confident, then you should focus on your North Node and your 4th house. You know, you are either the king or the queen of yourself. If you're here, you're an adult. You can do anything you want. And Pisces does have a really strong energy here. Maybe their reading could be, maybe their reading could be of service. What does that mean? Just a second. Libra rising. I feel maybe there's some karma with Pisces. But it's less about the people. It's more about the influence of how you view I heard what's in front of you. Very interesting energy. Just a second. Remember, you are safe, loved, protected. You are never alone. You will never go without. You know, I'll give you a personal example. From my own personal experience, I've been homeless. I've slept in the snow. I've no money, no food, no nothing. Still here. Totally fine. And actually even in a better spot because of not having certain things at certain times. And a big part of that, and I feel like this is a big Capricorn lesson, is like, it's about, Capricorn's about sacrifice. You know, sometimes we have to, for instance, you know, walk away from certain situations or disengage emotionally, right? The other side of you is the moon, is Cancer. So You have to disengage emotionally sometimes and step away. And we've talked about this for the last few years, but it was like, who are you? For instance, like, you take your family out of the equation, you take your job out of the equation, you take your friends out of the equation, right? Your children, the children out of the equation, money, whatever. Like, who are you? Who do you think you are? And this isn't to make the message redundant. It's just to realize that you don't have anything to be afraid of. And that really fear is an illusion. I mean, again, there are some situations that are unavoidable, right? The Buddhists know, like we did in the beginning with the bells. It's like life is suffering. Yes, we have to. And the whole point of that, whenever that is, whether this is a fear or a sadness or a lack of something, it is there to enlighten you, right? I'm pretty sure that, well, from what I read, that some Buddhists will actually pray to have enough suffering, right? They're like asking for it. Now, I'm not suggesting necessarily, be careful what you ask for, but it's more about just the concept of that, of being like, please allow me to experience what I need to experience so that the elevation can be had. And again, the path of the initiate, right? And again, you have the capacity. You're Saturnian. You totally have the capacity to be a good disciple, which means self-discipline, right? To focus. Now, of course, you have to figure out the levels. Yes, you have to figure out the levels of how you use that energy and where and when, right? How you find your own contentment. But most importantly, it's about finding your independence too, right? Because everybody's got to pull their own weight. Libra says so. Which you're exalted in that. They know. Or this is your marriage partner, this is your family, like whatever. Work, your colleagues, like if everyone pulls their own weight, spiritually, emotionally, physically, energetically, when life's a whole heck of a lot lighter, more fun. Because that's another thing with Saturn energy, like we talked about earlier with the moon or what have you, which again is just the opposite of you, so it's nice to look at it that way. It helps to understand more that well, that doing and building, and it is very important. So how do you feel when you stop to say whatever you're doing? How would you feel if you just stopped? Somebody else got this month, but where you're just kind of like, mouth, eyes, ears, like close them all. Put your thumbs in your ears, cover your mouth, like. What's the sound? Right, like what's in there? Because I see that you'll find some kind of answer too, to help you put something more at ease. Because I know you have a dream, right? What's your dream? Was there an old dream that you gave up on? Is there, like, maybe there's something that you... What is this dream you're working towards? And I guess because we're talking about dreaming and there was so much Piscean stuff, it's like, are you being fantastical about anything? Just... a fantasy is okay in ways of imagination to what something could be, And I guess you'll know whether that's an illusion or not, whether when you put effort, physical energy into doing something, if it keeps going, then you're doing the right thing, right? You're coming from a place of empowerment. If you keep hitting a wall for some reason, then well, then there's something about self-respect that needs to be addressed. And also figuring out, like, who's in charge. Right. Very interesting. Thank you, Capricorn. Thank you so very much. You want to hear the bells again? Thanks for being here. I do hope that was of service. With all that earth here too, I feel like work is really good. If you're curious, you definitely have like enough. You are stable, okay? You are capable. The more you give, the more you get. And especially with you, like in a way that is responsible to yourself. And especially emotionally, you know what I mean? Like, and I heard, please don't worry about whoever it is that, like, didn't want you or doesn't want you, whatever that means. No, don't worry about it at all. Pluto's also in retrograde. I'll talk about that in the future, but until October. So something to think about, but I'll discuss more about that. Actually, that's on my list to do for Patreon too. I want to make a video about that. Speaking of, thank you, any of you who have gone over there to expand your learning and growing. Thank you also for being here, of course, and wherever you are in your lives. You know, addressing the things that are hard, right? The places that feel scared. It gives us great opportunity and strength, right? Because you endured. You're a very enduring sign. So endure, and I heard and do, and know that you are, again, safe and loved and protected. And please don't forget to have a little bit of fun. I just saw a bunch of kids like playing hacky sack. You know, it's like being in a circle and hanging out with friends. Like, make sure you do at least a little bit of that. But it should be a little bit of that. Work is more of the focus. Yes, so that you can get where you're going. And I heard again, what is this dream that you were working towards? And I heard, please don't worry about the things that used to be a dream to you that became a nightmare. And this is way in the past, okay? No, please don't worry about that so much. It's not, no. And again, as Pisces has a message for you. Okay, time to go. Love you. Talk to you next time. Peace.